Hello, my kitchen table friends, and happy Saturday. Today is Saturday, December 27th, and if you are seeing this today, happy New Year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you. I hope that you have had a fabulous Christmas holiday season. I hope that you have enjoyed time with your family. I hope that you have been able to enjoy it. I hope you've been able to rest, get some yummy, delicious food. I hope that you have enjoyed your family time, and I hope that you are enjoying this holiday season. I know that I have. I have been extremely busy. I was telling a friend the other day that I feel like I am purely exhausted from all of the things. Generally, that happens to me when Christmas Day comes. I am exhausted, and it was the case this last week when we had a Christmas celebration with my family, my parents and my mother, my mom and dad, and my daughter and my son-in-law and my grandbabies were over, and we had a wonderful time, but I was pretty much down with a migraine most of the day, and so I spent some time on the couch back and forth trying to engage and do things with everyone, but it was a nice time. And I am so happy to have had time to spend with my family. With that being said, we have a lot going on here at the kitchen table. And I don't know what I was thinking when I thought, oh, I will go ahead and roll out an entire reading plan for 2026 on the day after Christmas or 2 days after Christmas. I don't know what I was thinking when I did that, but here we are. And I want to give you some of the specifics that I know many of you have been waiting for. Now, with this being said, if you don't know what I'm talking about and you're sitting here going, Wendy, you're talking about something that I haven't really learned much about yet, or I don't know anything about yet, please make sure to watch the video. I'll go ahead and link it in the description of this video so that you can watch that one first, so that you can get an idea of where we're going in 2026. I laid this out a week or so ago, kind of brought you an overarching theme of what we're going to be doing in the year 2026, where we're going as a group, and you don't want to miss some of the specifics that I talked about in that video. I talked about why it is that we are doing what we are doing, why we've chosen to do it this way, and what we are hoping to gain out of our reading together through this reading plan in 2026. So with that being said, we are just days away from launching our reading plan for 2026. And I wanted to give you some specifics on sort of what to expect. There are several things that I want to accomplish in this video, kind of to keep me on track, because if not, I could go all day talking to you. I want to talk to you specifically about the reading plan itself, what it looks like. I'm going to give you a glimpse of what it looks like, and then you're going to get a link to the PDF where you can print your own reading plan. Now, I've had many people ask me about this reading plan and ask me if there is a charge associated with it, if it's going to cost them any money. It is totally free. So if you are sitting here at the kitchen table, which is an extension of Inspire Ministries, you have this reading plan for free. There's nothing that you owe for it. There's no payment necessary for it. The only thing that I would say is this: we always welcome any contributions, financial contributions that you want to make. And I always have left that open to every individual. Now, we have many things throughout the year that we actually receive money for. We do monthly study devotion bundles that I charge for $15 a month. There are Bible studies that I do throughout the year. I generally do 4 big ones throughout the year, and those are anywhere between $18 to $35 every time that we do one of those. We have study challenges, though, that we do throughout the year. We have content that I make available in terms of printables, worksheets, handouts. All of those things are always free. But when there are going to be items that I'm going to charge for, you will know that up front. Okay, if it's Zoom, if it's a Zoom class, if it's a one-day class, like we have our one-day review the catalog course coming up this coming Monday, December 29th. That is a paid course. It's only $10, and you get a lot of things with that $10. But that is one example of something that is a paid item, paid content here at the kitchen table. But this particular reading plan is a no payment option for you sitting here at the kitchen table. Okay, so that there's no charge for it. There is nothing that we're going to charge you for. If at all you ever feel like you want to give financially to this ministry, you can. So that is always something that is available. I give a lot of free content here. So if you ever feel like you want to contribute financially to the ministry, you can do that. Or if you ever feel like you want to give to our scholarship fund, which is a separate fund that helps those who want to attend Zoom courses or they want to get a monthly study bundle and they're not able to do so financially, it gives them an opportunity to do that. We have a fund for people that like to contribute to or pay it forward to other people to do that, and that is always available. But the reading plan itself for 2026 is completely free. So are the other things we will have that we will make available to you during the course of this year. Now, I want to walk through with you again some very specific things. I want to talk to you about ways that you can journal through the process that you're going to be working through as you work through the Gospels in 2026 with us. I want to give you some practical questions that you can be asking. I want to lay out some of the things that you can expect from me and from my team sitting here in the year 2026. And then I want to give you some helpful hints that will help you to get started in the reading plan and to continue successfully in the reading plan in the year 2026. Now, I know that with a lot of things that we do in a new year, we tend to get going on it with great gusto in the beginning, and we tend to fade away in our commitment over time. Now, without any hands being raised, who would say, that's me when it comes to diet and exercise? I'm putting a hand up because that has been me. Many, many, many times throughout the course of my life, I have had very good intentions to get physically healthy, whether that be to exercise more, diet more, eat better. I always tend to start out the new year with great intentions to make significant changes to my physical body or to my health. And what I know to be true is that I am a person who really is pretty diligent, pretty committed, and I tend to be very disciplined in my behavior, but for whatever reason, when it comes to my physical health, that's not always the case. And usually by about March or mid-April, I tend to fall off the wagon, right? I might start out thinking I'm not going to eat as much bread, I'm going to eat more protein, and then by April, I'm craving the donut, I'm craving the sweets, I'm eating poorly again, and I'm making unwise choices in my physical health. And so I don't want that to be us. And so I want to give you some practical, helpful hints that will help you throughout the course of this study to stay faithful and committed as you go. Now, this is not going to be an exhaustive list by any means. I'm probably going to come on different times throughout the year to encourage you, to motivate you, to excite you, to give you some things to help you to go deeper in your reading plan and in your walk with Jesus. But for right now, I want to give you some overarching helpful hints that will hopefully benefit you as you get started on this journey. So the first thing that I want to say is that this is our Gospels reading plan. Now, this is a two-page PDF that you are going to get in the link that I have provided for you in the body of this particular post. Now, if you miss that, I'm going to try and create a master resource list where everything that is related to our study through the book of John, which is where we're starting. So for those of you who didn't know that, you can, of course, go back and listen to the first video that we did, watch that video. I tell you kind of what we're going to do and how we're going to lay it out, and I'm going to talk about that again here in a minute. But this is all the content that you're going to need for the reading plan for just the first 2 months. Now, I'm only going to give you a couple months at a time. There is reason for that Because if you are like me, you will want to jump ahead. I know that there are many of us here who are active readers, and so we read faster than a lot of other people do. It's just the way God's wired us to be. It's not necessarily that we are better or that we're smarter or anything else than anyone else. But it does mean that oftentimes there are those of us who want to go further in our reading, and I don't want you to do that. So I'm only going to be giving you the first 2 months at a time. So let me kind of share with you how this is going to lay out and then what you can expect to get from me throughout the course of 2026. Because again, we are going to be in the Gospels for the entire year 2026. So that means in January and February and March, we're going to be in the book of John. April, May, and June, we're going to be in the book of Luke. That's where we're going next. We're first starting with John, then we are going to Luke. Okay, so January, February, March, John. April, May, June, Luke. July, August, September, we're going to be in Matthew. And then October through December of 2026, we're going to be in the book of Mark. And so all I'm going to be giving you at every interval of time throughout those books is the content that we're going to be studying for 2 months at a time. Now, I say 2 months, even though we're going to be in 3 months, because the reading plan itself is for 2 months. So let me share with you what is going to happen. So I decided to, let's just talk about how this is going to roll out and how this is going to happen right away. So in John, in the book of John, we are going to begin to read in January. So we are going to be January, February, reading through the book of John. In March, we are going to be doing a deep dive study through the book of John, okay? So during our reading plan through January and February, we're simply going to be reading the content. We're going to be simply reading what we are supposed to be reading in any given day. Throughout the course of January and February, I will come in with different video topics to teach on, different maybe Zoom classes to offer, different printables, worksheets, handouts, suggestive tips, maybe written teachings on the content that we are in any specific time frame. So through the month of January, day 1, let me just give you an example. Day 1 is chapter 1, verses 1 through 28. Day 2 is chapter 1, verses 29 through 51. But then we come to day 3, and it's all of chapter 2. Now listen, I know that there are going to be some of you who are going to be very logistic in the way that you think about this. Now, I'm married to an engineer. He thinks very critically and he thinks very logistically. And so there are times that you're going to look at this reading plan and you're going to see that there's maybe only 12 verses to read. Another day, you might see that there are more like 50 verses to read. My team and I met for a planning retreat back in October, and we laid all of this out intentionally and specifically for you in mind. And we did it intentionally so that we worked it out so that every day has its proper reading and it works itself out within that 60-day period. Okay, within that 2-month period. So what you are going to see is you are going to see the first page of reading through the book of John is going to take you through day 1 through day 20. Okay, our intention for this is for you to do 5 days of reading and 2 days of rest. 5 days of reading, 2 days of rest. And for that pattern to repeat itself throughout the months that we're going to be reading all throughout 2026. So for those of you who have done my monthly study bundles in the past, you will know that's the way that we have set it up. We've set it up so that you have 5 days of reading, 2 days of rest. 5 days of reading, 2 days of rest. The reason for that is because we live busy lives. I know me. I know you, I know us. We are busy. We get really busy doing other things. We didn't get caught up in the reading that we had to do for that particular day or for that particular week. And so we have intentionally built in 2 days of catch up or review for you at the end of your week. So you may choose to do your reading plan Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You may choose to do your plan starting on Sunday and do Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This has been designed intentionally to be Monday through Friday. However, I know everybody's schedule is different and everybody's availability and everybody's commitment level is different. And so we've created this to be sort of for you to adapt in your everyday life, okay? But I want you to think about it in terms of how we've laid it out. We are starting our reading on the 5th, and it's Monday. So we go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sundays off. We start over again on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. Okay, so we've done that intentionally. So you will see that there are some days that have a lot more to read, and there are some days that have a little bit to read. Again, it has been created intentionally. It has been designed intentionally to fit into those days that we needed it to fit in, and to help you to have some days that have more and some days that have less. That way you're not overly exhausted with reading material, just simply reading it through. We know that that can be daunting and that task can be difficult, and it can lead to weariness that actually causes you to stop doing the plan and prematurely get out of the plan early. So this is the way that it has been laid out. Again, you are going to get the Gospels reading plan in a 2-page PDF document. I would just ask that you would either print it out or screenshot it or do something with it to actively engage with the material that we're going to be working through in 2026. So what my intention is that all of us on day 2 would be reading those specific verses. All of us on day 13 would be reading those specific verses. That's my heart. That is my desire for all of us. But again, you work it out how you want to work it out. You personalize it in a way that makes sense for your schedule. You have this as a guideline. Use that as a guideline. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be focusing on the Gospels in 2026, and our whole entire focus for 2026 through the Gospels is going to be with a focus on Jesus. So one of the things that I want to talk to you about is some of the questions that you can be asking yourself, asking of the Holy Spirit, asking in your prayer time with the Lord, and asking of the actual text. So I've laid these out on every printable that you have that is actually the reading plan itself. I've given you the questions right there, so you don't have to remember them and you don't have to necessarily write them down. They are there on your reading plan for you as a guide. So here are some questions to ask. What did Jesus do? What did Jesus say? And how did Jesus behave? I'm going to add another one in here and say, what does this text teach me about myself? And what does this text teach me about the Lord? Now, the myself one is going to throw people for a loop because our focus is supposed to be on Jesus. But the text will often reveal things about ourselves that we need to know in relationship to Jesus and as it relates to our spiritual walk with the Lord. So I want you to read the Gospels, read through this book of John in January and February with those questions in your mind. What did Jesus do? What did Jesus say? How did Jesus behave? What again does this teach me about the Lord? And what can I walk away learning and applying to myself and to my life? Because at the end of the day, it's all about Jesus, how he lived, what he said, what he taught, and how he practiced, okay? So this is your reading plan starting on January 5th. It's taking you all the way to February 27th. Now, you know that we said that we're going to be doing the deep dive for 3 months. So January, February, and March, we're going to be in the book of John. So after we've read through John in its entirety from beginning to end using the reading plan that we've supplied, at the end of that time, it's going to be February 27th. And as we go into March, we are going to be doing what's called a deep dive. I'm going to be offering classes. I'm going to be offering Zoom opportunities. I'm going to be offering maybe printables, handouts, things of that nature that will help you. It will be more along the lines of what you're used to as it regards a study challenge here at the kitchen table. If you've been here for any amount of time, you're familiar probably with the study challenges that we've been doing every month since I think June of 2023. And so those are going to be more along the lines of a deep dive into the scriptures that we have already read. So some of those will be parables. Some of those will be just learning more about the life of Jesus. Some will be about his birth. Some will be about his death. Some will be about his resurrection. Some will just be things that will be helpful for you to learn more and to go deeper in the text that we have already read. So let me do a recap here, and I want to add something else to this at the forefront. Now, I am coming to you. Today is Saturday. I almost said September. Today is Saturday, December 27th, okay? So between today and January 5th, there are 9 days, okay? Every month, as we began to kind of put these verses in and line these verses up with how we are going to be studying these, it turned out to work perfectly that at the end of every month, before a new gospel would begin. So before John begins, before Luke begins, before Matthew begins, and before Mark begins, we have 9 built-in days. So that means when we finish up reading in a specific gospel, let's say when we finish up at the end of February reading, or at the end of March reading through the book of John, we will have 9 days before the beginning of April to do what I'm going to be talking about here in a minute. So it works out perfectly. So I'm coming to you again. Today is Saturday, December 27th. And what we would love for you to do as preparation for the reading plan that we're going to begin as a body of believers on January 5th is we would like you to read the entire book of John. Now, I know it is a daunting task, but I want to give you some helpful tools for you if you find this to be exhaustive or not practical or almost impossible to do before the 5th. Now, the reason that we want to do this is we really want to familiarize ourselves with the text that we're reading. If you've been here for any amount of time, you probably have heard me talk about that I used to read the Gospels 4 times a year from beginning to end. That meant that I was reading Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John 4 times a year from start to finish. And I did that routinely year after year after year for many years of my life. And the reason why it was so impactful to me is the repetitiveness. And we need that in our life, right? We need to be ingrained with the Word of God. We need for it to sink in the marrow of our bones. We need to get it. And oftentimes that will only come to us in a repeated pattern when things are repeated to us. So a lot of times, let me give you an example. A lot of times people will say to me in a course that they're taking of mine, Wendy, why do you repeat a phrase over and over and over again? Why do you say the same thing? There's a reason. It's not because I'm redundant. It's not because I like to talk, although I guess that's probably true that I do, or I probably wouldn't be teaching. But it's not simply because of that. It is because I truly want what is being said, those few lines, those few words, those few sentences, that lesson to really stick. And the way that it will really stick is if we are repeating that lesson over and over and over again. So a lot of times I will repeat something at the start of a class, or I will say something at the start of a class, and then I will repeat that throughout the course time, so that by week 8, 9, 10, it is ingrained in your mind. It is something that you're going to walk away having learned about that class. And so I really want this to be something that we walk away from going, I am not only filling my head with more knowledge, I am being changed by what I'm reading, because I'm looking at at it, I'm reading it, and I'm getting it in the marrow of my bones, and it is changing who I am becoming. And the only way, again, that it's going to change who we are becoming is if we know it. And we don't just know it because we are filling our head with more stuff or more words or more knowledge or more ideas or thoughts, but we are actually reading it to be changed, asking the Holy Spirit, how can I be changed by what it is that I'm reading? So with that being said, again, today is Saturday, December 27th. So for 9 days, we've built in 9 days to give you time to read through the book of John. We think it's doable. We think it is very, very practical. Listen, there are only 21 chapters in the book of John. Now, if you want to look at it like this, in John, there are 21 chapters and there are 879 verses. Now, I know that seems like a lot, but you could even do the math and divide that by 9 and consider how many verses then should I be reading in a given day so that I can get all of the reading done between now and January 5th. Okay. And even if you didn't get all of the reading done between now and January 5th, you could still say, maybe I could use those weekends, those 2 built-in days throughout the months of January and February to continue reading, to just read. Okay. So whatever it looks like to you, I want you to use this to your benefit. And I want you to personalize this in a way that for you that makes sense. However, I would love for us to read the entirety of the book of John before our reading begins in January, okay? Another thing that you can do, now I am a big proponent of reading the physical Bible. Now I know that many people love to use the app on their phone. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing, there's nothing sinful about using that at all. I'm not going to tell you that anything's wrong with that, but I love the written word and the physical book of the Bible. So if at all possible, and you can read through our reading plan with your physical Bible in your hand, I would pray that you would do that. There are some of you who may want to opt to do a special Bible for the reading plan, and that's absolutely fine as well. But I would love for you to actually have your physical Bible in front of you reading through. That way you can take notes, you can highlight, you can mark up where you need to. I really pray that this is something that you take advantage of doing. However, I do know that we are busy. I know that we live very busy lives, and listen to me when I tell you, I live a very busy life. I am busy from sunup to sundown. I get up usually at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I don't let my head hit the pillow until between usually 9 or 9:30, and I am exhausted when I go to bed because my days are full. So I do know what it looks like to be very, very busy. And with that in mind, I want to tell you that one of the good options is listening to the Bible on an app, or listening to it on YouTube, or listening to it somewhere in an audio format. Okay, this is not cheating. This is still getting the word in. So even if you have to listen to the book of John between now and January 5th, I pray that you're able to do that. Maybe you want to listen to it as you're exercising. Maybe you want to put your headphones in at work. Maybe you want to listen to it on your lunch break. Maybe you want to, read in those fringe hours. Maybe you have young babies and you want to just read during nap time or at the end of the day. Find time to do that. I think that it will bless you. I think that it will prepare you in advance for where we are going. And I think it will help you with the retention that you will have. And it will help you to remember more of what you have read at the end of every close of every book that we do through the Gospels. So I want you to keep that in mind. That is how we are rolling this out. So again, your homework, your assignment, if you should so choose to do so, is to begin today looking at what it might look like for you to get in the full book of John, all 21 chapters, between now and January 5th. And then you will begin the reading plan with us on January 5th, day 1, whatever that looks like for you, and read through the entire month of January. It will take us to day 20, which will be chapter 11, verses 1 through 44. Then we start in February, and the same thing will be true of February. We will read through day 21 through day 40. So again, it will be 5 days on, 2 days off, 5 days on, 2 days off. And we will read beginning in chapter 11 in John, day 21 through day 40, which leads us all the way to the end of the book of John, John chapter 21. So I don't want you to think too much yet about March. I want you to concentrate right now on January, and even backing up a little bit more from that, I want you to concentrate on simply reading through the book of John between now and January 5th. And again, if you have to listen to it on audio, please, by all means, do that. All right, so that takes us through the first couple things that I wanted to say, or the first thing that I wanted to say, and that is ways to journal, or how the reading plan is going to lay out. Now I want to walk through this with you, and that is ways to journal through. So ways to journal through. Now, there have been many ways that I have read through the Gospels. One of the most helpful things that I can tell you is have a notebook with you as you are reading. Now, as you are reading through John in these first 9 days between now and January 5th, I want you just to read the text, okay? That's all I want you to do, is just to read the text. Don't ask questions of the text. Don't highlight the text. Don't mark up the text. Don't journal about the text. Just read the text. It will be enough for us just to get 21 chapters in 9 days. But when we start on the deep dive, I would love for you to have a notebook with you, okay? So make sure that you have a notebook and a pen with you at all times. This way, you can begin to ask questions of the text. You can begin to apply certain things to your life, ask certain questions about your own self in the text, learn more about God by journaling through what you are learning about Jesus. So maybe mark up some things that you learned about Jesus, maybe some things you're learning about him that you never knew before. Maybe you are learning some things about his nature and his character that you never knew before. Maybe some things about the text really stand out to you. Maybe there are some verses that you read and you're like, that was written just for me. I needed to know that. So I'm going to jot that down for later on so that I can deep dive into that area. Now I'm going to be asking at the end of February for people to give me some of their big bullet points from what they've learned in the 2 months of study, because I want to focus on the things that you are interested in focusing on in the months of March, right? When we do our review, when we do our deep dive in John. Same thing when we do Luke, same thing when we do Matthew, same thing when we do Mark. So that is one thing that you can do as you journal through. Another thing that you can do is what I am calling a Gospels journal. Now, if you've been here for a while, you know that I've talked about this from time to time. I did an entire video on it. I'll try to remember to link it in the body of this message. If I don't, will there be somebody that will remind me to put it in the comment section down below? It is a good step-by-step video on how I do my Gospels journal. I have this journal that I started several years ago, and I used it every time that I was walking through Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. So when I would start in a new Gospels book, I would begin to just read and then jot down all of the things that I was learning about Jesus, about his character, about his nature, about who he is, about how he dealt with hardship, about how he responded to people, how he loved people, how he showed grace to people, how he showed mercy to people, how he forgave. All of the things that I learned about the life of Jesus, I wrote in this Gospels journal. One of the things that I have at the forefront of this binder or this book, it says this: when things in life get complicated and difficult, return to the life of Jesus, how he lived, what he said, what he taught, and how he practiced. that is something that I have kept with me through the Gospels journey that I've had over the course of my life. And again, I will try to find that video, link it in the description box in this video, or I will go ahead and rely on one of you to remind me to put it in the comment section down below. Another thing that you can use is a gift that I got just this Christmas from a dear friend of mine who helped me do some work on this study challenge. She was actually such a blessing to us as we walked through how we were going to do this. I'm sorry, I said study challenge. I meant reading plan. She helped me in this reading plan, develop it, strategically plan it. She did so much work as we had our planning retreat back in October. And so she gave this to me for Christmas, and it is wonderful. It is such a great thing. It's called The Gospels According to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It is by the company ChristianPlanner.com, and it is a journaling Bible through the Gospels. So you begin with Matthew, and it looks like this. You have your text here in the center margins with your lined sections in the outer margins for you to be able to journal your way through this process. And it just goes all the way through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and it's wonderful. I think that when I looked it up on ChristianPlanner.com, it's running at about $35 right now. I don't know if there's going to be any sales between now and the new year. There might be an after Christmas sale. And I do believe that it's available in the ESV, which is this version, or the King James Version. I love the ESV, and so I love that she got this for me in the ESV, but there are options for you. This is a great tool to use as well. So if you want to get something that is pretty, it's velvety kind of on the outside. It's very soft. It's wonderful. If you have the $35 from Christmas money that you got and you want to spend that, that is a great investment. That is something that you can be doing as you walk through. So those are three different ways that you can journal your way through the Gospels that we will be reading in the year 2026. We've already talked about the questions that you need to be asking yourself. What did Jesus do? What did Jesus say? And then how did Jesus behave? Some of the things that you can be expecting from me, again, printables, handouts, worksheets, all of those things are going to be free. I'm going to hopefully do a Zoom review at the end of every month, just like I do with the study challenges that we've done, that will be encapsulating kind of many of the points that we've studied through in a given month. You will also, should be expecting to have study challenges. Now, we're not going to eliminate our study challenges just because we're doing a reading plan and just because we are centralizing our focus around the Gospels this year doesn't mean that we're not going to be doing a study challenge. What is cool about the study challenges that we are going to be doing in 2026 is that they're all going to be related to the Gospels. Now, that's going to be a tough one for me because I have already been reading some things that I've been kind of preparing in my mind for you in the year 2026 to kind of roll out as a study challenge. So in addition to those things, you can be looking for maybe short little Zoom classes that I will offer throughout the year that will kind of be more along the lines of a deep dive of those study challenges that don't have anything to do with the Gospels. Because again, even though we are primarily in the Gospels, there are other things that we want to talk about in terms of what the Lord is saying in regard to the totality of the Bible in other avenues, in other ways. So those are some other things that we're going to be doing. But those are some things that you can be expecting from me. Okay, Zoom classes, videos, tutorials, helpful hints, worksheets, printables, all of those kinds of things you can be expecting from me in addition to the study challenges and in addition to the monthly study bundles that I already do every single month. Now, some helpful hints for you as we get started. Use a physical Bible. Again, I've talked about how important this is for us. It's very important for me. I love online. I always have my computer with me. I'm always looking up verses and things online. I'm always looking up, different things that I want to look at on a computer or on apps. But use the physical Bible whenever possible. One of the things, again, that you can do is you can have the Bible read to you, which is fantastic. Another thing that I think is helpful when we are reading is reading out out loud. Whenever you can read out loud, it is helpful for retention. So if you can do that, if you can read to yourself out loud, maybe early in the morning, late at night, so nobody is listening in and thinks you're really crazy, but I don't really care if they do, because, my family thinks I'm weird anyway. Do that, like read out loud if you can, because again, that helps with retention. The other thing that I want to say is plan for memorization. Now, I'm not going to supply you with memorization throughout the course of our study, because I realize that everybody will land on different verses that really speak to them, right? Some things that stick out to me are not necessarily the things that are going to stick out to you, and vice versa. So I'm going to rely on you to think through and to read through, okay, what are my big takeaways here? What are the lessons that I'm learning here? How is the Lord speaking to me? And then use that time to specifically memorize scripture. Maybe it is, writing it down several times. Maybe it's putting it on a note sheet or a sticky note and carrying it around with you all the time. Maybe it's putting it in a prominent place where you can read it and see it and review it all of the time. Whatever that looks like. Listen, if you have trouble retention, or you have trouble remembering, and you want to have some helpful hints and some helpful tools on how to remember, recall, and repeat, which is 3 words that I'm always talking about. Listen, sign up for our Review the Catalog course coming up this coming Monday. So again, December 29th, this coming Monday from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be doing a $10 Zoom course on Review the Catalog. So you are going to get all of my secrets on how I really focus on what the Lord has been telling me in a given year, and how I really retain that, and how I keep it in front of me at all times so that I don't forget it. It doesn't matter if you're not going to be available for the actual Zoom class either. We always have it available for replay. So pay the $10, get it on replay, and then have it to watch whenever you want to watch, over and over and over again if you want to watch it. Plus, you will get a bundle of printables to help you as you go into the new year, and so you can kind of set yourself up for success with learning the most you can from the Word of God in the new year. So that is something that I want you to do is plan on memorization. The other thing that I'm going to say is use commentaries whenever possible. If there are things that you are not understanding in the scriptures, if there are things that you are not understanding that you are reading, go deeper by reading commentaries. Pull out those dictionaries, pull out those commentaries, go to BibleHub.com, right? BibleHub.com is a wonderful place to get all kinds of resources. They have sermon notes, they have commentaries, they have a dictionary in there. They have the Greek and the Hebrew and the Aramaic definitions. They have different translations in there. It is a wonderful place to get more information on going deeper into an area that you might not be as familiar with, or you want to know more information about. So BibleHub.com is a great resource. Bible Gateway is another resource as well. And you can also search on our page, the kitchen table page, just by clicking on the search engine or the search icon. You can type in that particular verse that you are struggling with or having some kind of issue with, and we might have a teaching on there. We might have done a Zoom review. We might have done a study challenge. We might have done a writing on it. I might have done a writing on it or offered some sort of tutorial or worksheet or printable on it. Always use that search engine to go back into our archives to see if there's anything in there that you might learn about the verse in question. Ask questions often of the text. That's another helpful hint. Always ask yourself the questions. What am I learning about the Lord here? What did Jesus do here? How did he behave? How am I seeing him interact with people? How did he display kindness? How do I see the fruits of the Spirit displayed in the life of Christ here in this text that I'm reading? What did I learn about his life that I never knew before? I want us to learn more about the life of Christ in this year, and how then to emulate his life, how to use him as a pattern, as an example of how we are to be living this side of eternity. And then the next thing that I want to say is this: engage, engage, engage. Engage with the material as much as you can, and engage with our online community as much as you can. Listen, there is nothing There is nothing that is a faster way to get frustrated than to do this all by yourself. And we are doing this as a community on purpose. We are inviting as many people as we can into this process so that we can do this together, because we realize that we are better together. We realize that there is a gift in community, and we realize that we learn better with other people. I learn better from you, you learn better from me. So, with that being said, if you learn something new that you want to share with the group, or if you read something maybe that you've never read before, maybe a commentary that you read sticks out to you, maybe a different version of the verse that you have been memorizing stands out to you and really speaks to you in a special way. Maybe you've been praying about something and you've learned more about that thing that you've been praying for, or you've gotten some more clarity or answers in regard to that thing you've been praying for as you've been reading through the scriptures. Please feel free to share that with us. Listen, I don't know how many times I need to say that. I've said it on repeat when I've had classes, when I have done study challenges throughout different months. Please engage with us. We want to know. We want to hear from you. We are better together. We're better when we learn from other people what they are learning and sharing content that you want to share in regards to the things that the content that we are studying. Now, that doesn't mean that everything that is posted will be uploaded right away. That doesn't even necessarily mean that everything that you will want to share will be posted. Okay? We have to have some level of continuity, and we have to have some level of structure within our page. So in the mornings, you will see me often upload content at 7:15 and 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's a reason for that. I do that intentionally. That way, I've kind of developed a system, I've developed a structure, I've developed a habit that people are familiar with. They know that if they don't see anything from me in the morning, that's an oddity. That would be a very rare circumstance. You're going to see something from me at 7:15 or 7:30 in the morning, maybe 8 o'clock. I try not to do more than 3 posts in a given day. That might mean that I am posting about a study challenge. That might mean that I'm posting maybe a video that I've uploaded and the daily written devotional for the day. Okay. I try not to do more than 3 things in the given day or in the given time frame in the morning. There may be other times that I'm coming on in the evening, and those are generally 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you come on and you want to share something that you have liked in the reading, or maybe you want to share something that you've learned and you try to post it, and you will get a little note that will say, okay, you have to go through the approval process, and you want to post it at 7:30 in the morning, it competes with the other things that we have going on in a given day. That just means that either it might come out later on that afternoon or that evening, or maybe even the next day. So don't get frustrated if your content doesn't get approved right away. It just means that there are reasons why, and if we aren't going to post it for whatever reason, if we're not going to allow it for whatever reason, we will give you the reason in a written Facebook Messenger message back to you. We want to hear from you. So we don't want to hear necessarily, we don't want to see maybe you just share a verse that's like a cute little Pinterest post, right? So like, let's say we're reading John 11 verse 5, and you see something on Pinterest that is John 11:5 and you want to share it. That wouldn't be considered what we would say is sharing how God is speaking to you, right? We want to know how God is speaking to you. And if we are just coming on and sharing John 11:5, we count that as more noise that we don't want to inundate our page with. So we want you to share, we want you to kind of engage with our page, but we want to hear from you. We want to hear from your heart. We want to hear what the Lord is speaking to you. We want to know what you're learning. So we want it to be personal. So that's the caveat that I would say to sharing. I want to say this as we kind of wrap up. I wrap up this announcement today, and then I will, at the end of this video, give you kind of a recap again once more so that we are clear with what to expect in the next couple weeks. Our focus on this entire 2026 calendar year, again, is going to be on the Gospels, but it's going to be mostly on holiness. Okay, holiness. Now, first of all, what is meant by holiness? First of all, let me read to you 1 Peter 1:3. In the King James Version, it says this: "Blessed be the God, our Father, of our Lord Jesus Christ, which according to his abundant mercy hath begotten us again unto a lively hope by the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead." We are begotten of God. That means he's given us new life, and we are to see to it that we live as such. We are to live as though we are new creations. And as we are entering into the year 2026, every year that we enter into a new year, I always think about that. We are a new creation. We have a new chance to do it all over again, to be made new, to be made into the likeness of Jesus, to be made holy, to be made righteous and pure, to be made like Jesus, to become more like Jesus. You and I, who are image bearers, have an example, and that is Jesus Christ. And we are to be Jesus with skin on in this world, as you've often heard me say. Paul tells us in Ephesians 5:8 in the NIV, "For you were once in darkness, but now you are in light of the Lord. Live as children of the light." So again, I want to think through this for just a minute and think about, what does it mean? What does holiness mean? Holiness does not mean perfect. It does not mean perfect. I know that there are people out here right now who are saying, yeah, Wendy, you can't expect me to be holy. Jesus was holy because he was perfect. That's not what holiness means. Holiness is from the Greek word Hagios, hagios, and it means set apart for a special use. The word in secular terms is held in a negative light and does not carry with it any form of righteousness. However, Christianity sanctified the term, using it to describe God, godly people, and godly things. Holiness essentially defines the Christian's new nature and conduct in contrast with our life before we met Christ. Friend, maybe you are on this journey of reading the Gospels with us in 2026, and Jesus hasn't become real to you, and he's not really been the Lord of your life, and you don't know much about him, but now is the time. And we are inviting you in to do this for us, not because we're wanting to give you more things to do, but we're inviting you in to do this with us because we want you to experience Jesus. We want you to know him. We want you to be changed by him, and we want you to be altered into his likeness. The reason for participating or practicing a holy life is that we are associated with a holy God and are called to treat him and his word with respect and reverence. We are called to bring honor and glory to him, and we do this best by becoming like him. But the fact is, we will never know what it's like to be him until we know him. And so this year we're learning more about him in order to know how to become like him. When we think about the pattern for holiness, what we are called to copy is absolute and utter purity of God's holiness. Think about this. Religion is an imitation, is it not? The truest form of worship is a copy. The natural operation of love is to copy. One of the things that we can flatter ourselves is when someone copies us, right? I wanted to do what you did. I saw how you did it. I saw how you behaved. I saw how you lived your life out. I saw how you made these choices, and I want to copy that behavior. That is something that is a flattery to us, right? And I believe it's most flattery to God when we learn how to live like his son, Jesus. Our personal Christian growth is made evident by how we are consciously copying the pattern of perfection laid out before us and aspiring after God. You and I have a duty of imitation. We have a duty of imitating Christ. And the thing here to make special note of is that in order to imitate the Lord, we have to know how our Lord thinks, how he feels, how he acts. We have to be able to know him and then properly apply that knowledge of the thoughts, behaviors, and sentiments of our Lord to our own condition and circumstances. Now, there's often a pushback when we begin speaking in terms of being holy like God is holy. I get this all of the time. Wendy, I cannot be holy. God is the only one who is holy. Jesus was the only one who lived a perfect life. We say things like, it's not possible to be perfect like Jesus because he was the only one who was perfect. And yet somehow we have appropriately have to wrestle with the call of Christ on our life, who said in Leviticus 11:44, the Lord who said, be holy because I am holy. He said it in Leviticus 11:44 and in Leviticus 19:2. So we have to wrestle with, why is it that the Lord said this? Even if we felt that it was impossible, doesn't it require full compliance and concentrated aim because it is a command straight from God? Even if we don't understand what it means to be holy, to be separate, to live a life of holiness unto the Lord, even though we don't have our brains wrapped around that yet, that is exactly what we're going to be doing in 2026, learning about a holy God, learning from a holy God the things that are not only expected of us, but are required of us and are possible from us. Wouldn't it be better for us to make an effort as opposed to continuing to live in the gutters of an ordinary sinful life? It is our duty to imitate the Lord. And in every instance where we come short of conformity, the fault always lies with us. 2 Peter 1:3-4 out of the New Living Translation says this, by his divine power, God has given us everything we need to live a godly life. We've received all of this by coming to know him, the one who called us to himself by means of his marvelous glory and excellence. And because of his glory and excellence, he has given us great and precious promises. These are promises that enable you to share in his divine nature and escape the world's corruption caused by human desires. So it is possible to pattern our lives after God, and there is a possibility of becoming more like Jesus. Listen, it is far better for us to come close to his likeness, even though it comes with many flaws and many failures, and oftentimes many setbacks, than to say that it cannot be reached and it cannot be attained. So I will content myself to live here in my sins, to live in the gutter of this life, to be so focused on this world and the chaos and the confusion and the madness that is the place that I live. Romans 8:24 in the ESV says this, for in this hope we are saved. We are saved by hope. One primary condition of spiritual growth is to believe that it's possible, that by his blessing we may be like him on earth in the measure of his beauty and our reception of his grace. We need to ask ourselves, if we are failing in the area of imitating Christ, what is the measure of beholding him? Are we beholding him? Or are we beholding him? The King James Version for 2 Corinthians 3:18 says, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord. So how are we beholding Christ? Listen, that's the whole entire plan for 2026. It's not just a reading plan. This is not just to add more content to our page. This isn't just to add more responsibility to us. This isn't just to increase our knowledge. This is to behold Christ. This is to look at him and to imitate him with all that we have within us. It's interesting that Peter doesn't call us to holy living as a matter of speculation or consideration, nor exclusively as a grounds for comfort, but as the grand motive for action. He calls us to activate our faith by living holy lives, by being holy and watchful. And so we ask ourselves, what are we learning from beholding? What did Jesus do? What did Jesus say? And how did Jesus behave? This is where we're going in 2026. And I am so grateful that you are here. So again, let's recap. Beginning today, Saturday, December 27th, we are going to begin reading through the book of John in its entirety. Between now and January 5th, we are going to read 21 chapters, all of John, even if that means we're going to have it read to us through an app or an online resource. Beginning on January 5th, which is a Monday, we are going to begin reading through the reading plan. We're going to read day 1 through day 5, and then we're going to pause for 2 days, and then we will begin that next Monday. Again, make this personal, however you want to do it. We're going to be walking through with study challenges, with Zoom courses, with printables, handouts, worksheets, and then with a deep dive in the month of March. Deep dive in what we have already read through the book of John. Don't get too far ahead. We're only doing John right now for the first quarter of 2026. And again, I am so thankful that you are here. If you have decided that you're going to be in this journey, I would love for you to let us know. If you've made it to the end of this video, congratulations. First and foremost, it's almost an entire hour. Again, would you let us know that you are tuning in? Would you let us know what state you are tuning in from and what you are looking to get out of this study year, this reading plan with us in the year 2026. I love you, friends. I am praying for you. If you have any questions, please reach out to myself or my assistant, Melissa, who will be happy to help you as well. We love you. We have been preparing for this for months. We are finally here, and we are super excited to do this with you. We love you, friends. We will see you soon. Keep your eye out for all the goodness that we have coming up in the days, months, and weeks ahead. We love you, and we'll see you soon. Bye, guys.